Diddy denied Sean Combs will have to cool it in jail at least until sentencing for the one charge he was convicted on. And a very controversial plea deal. Bryan Kohberger admits to the brutal 2022 murders of 4 University of Idaho students. Plus, a friend's fail. If Jennifer Aniston slid into your DMs, would you believe it? Well, some poor sucker did. Those stories and more today, Thursday, July 3rd. I'm Caitlin Becker, and this is the New York Postcast. It was one of the most hotly anticipated criminal trials in years, and now it's not happening. Bryan Kohberger admitted Wednesday to butchering 4 University of Idaho students in 2022, pleading guilty to 4 counts of murder.
Did you, on November 13th, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, kill and murder Madison Mogen, a human being?
Yes.
Did you, on or about that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Kelce Gonzalez, a human being?
Yes.
And did you, on that same date in Moscow, Idaho, kill and murder Xana Kernodle, a human being?
Yes.
And then on or about November 13th, 2022, again in Latah County, Idaho, did you kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being?
Yes.
Those words right there, they ensure that Kohberger, unlike his victims, gets to keep his life. In exchange for pleading guilty and life in prison, prosecutors agreed not to seek the death penalty. The families of Maddie Mogen, Kelce Gonzalez, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin are divided over that plea deal. Mogen and Chapin's parents supported the move, but the Gonzalez and Kernodle families are irate. Kaylee's teenage sister called the decision shocking and cruel, and her father, Steve, refused to enter the courtroom. Kohberger's official sentencing is scheduled for later this month, where he's going to have an opportunity to address the court. Now, motive has been the biggest mystery in this case. Why them? Prosecutors said that they don't believe that Kohberger intended to slaughter all 4 people that night. So who was the target and what happened? Sadly, answers may never come. Bryan Kohberger is under no legal obligation to explain why he did it. Now to the war in Ukraine. The Trump administration confirmed Wednesday that the United States would halt the delivery of some weapons that were heading over to Ukraine over concerns that the U.S. stockpile is getting low. The weapons in question include artillery rounds, Patriot air defense, guided multiple launch rocket systems, Hellfire missiles, and a lot more. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte made a public plea for the United States to reverse its decision. He said that he understood the need for the U.S. to put itself first, but, quote, Ukraine cannot do without all the support it can get when it gets ammunition and air defense systems. Now, the decision to halt the weapons shipment comes as Russia continues to make more battlefield advances, particularly in the highly contested Donbas region. Now, an update on a remarkable story that I brought you earlier this week. The heroic dad who dove off a cruise ship to save his daughter after she slipped off the 4th deck of the boat and into the Atlantic Ocean. As soon as this story made the rounds, rumors were swirling online that it was actually Dad's fault that the 5-year-old fell. People were convinced that she went overboard while taking a risky picture, with her father basically perching her on the ship's railing. Well, that is a rumor that authorities and a fellow passenger can squash. A crew member reportedly confirmed that Mom and Dad were playing shuffleboard when the little girl scaled a barrier and fell. That is when Dad sprang into action, ensuring a fairy tale ending deserving of Disney. So now that all the shade being thrown is proven false, we officially anoint you, Mystery Disney Dad, as Father of the Year. Now to our big story. Diddy has many accolades under his belt, and here's one more. Subject of the most expensive prostitution trial in American history. The rap mogul got off on the most serious charges he was facing. The jury acquitted him of sex trafficking and racketeering. But they found Diddy guilty on 2 counts of transporting prostitutes. It was a humbling moment for the A-lister. Diddy dropped to his knees after the stunning verdict was read out. There were literal gasps in the courtroom. Now, I was outside of the courthouse where it was pure chaos. Fans were screaming. They were running around, streaming on social media, even squirting each other with baby oil. Now, since he was only found guilty on the lesser charges, Diddy's lawyers offered to pony up $1 million bond so that he can await sentencing at home. The judge slapped down that request, telling his defense team that they themselves told the court that Diddy's a violent man, and so he could be a danger out in the real world. And Diddy's days in a courtroom are far from over. He faces a whopping 66 civil lawsuits, which, combined with the legal fees for this criminal case, could put quite a dent in his estimated $400 million fortune. Those 66 suits allege all sorts of things, from harassment to assault, rape, and sexual battery, and some of them date all the way back to 1991. So for more on what comes next for Diddy, I'm joined now by the Post's senior reporter, Chris Nisi. Chris, walk us through the sentencing process here. He was denied bail. He wanted to go home to await sentencing, but he's back in Brooklyn in jail. The max count for each of these is 10 years, but what are prosecutors actually asking for?
So Diddy was convicted of two of the lesser charges in this case, both prostitution charges, alleging he shipped escorts across state lines. As you said, the maximum penalty for those charges is 10 years apiece, but it's likely he'll end up serving significantly less jail time. Former federal prosecutor we spoke to said in all likelihood, Diddy is probably going to end up getting around 15 to 21 months in prison for his conviction when he's sentenced, which is likely going to happen over the next couple of months. And since he's already been in jail for nearly 10 months, there's a possibility he'll have served much of his time by the time the sentence is handed down.
Diddy does not want to be in jail. His defense team has made that very clear, so I would not be surprised if they attempted to get him to serve his sentence at home, but I'm sure the judge will say no. Now, switching angles here a little bit, this is not the end of the road for Diddy, legally speaking. He has a mountain of civil suits, and a lot of what he's accused of there are things we heard about in this trial, but what are some of the other allegations against him?
Well, as you said, Diddy has a long legal road ahead of him. He's facing literally dozens of civil suits containing some pretty salacious claims, everything from harassment and assault to rape. Many of these cases involved alleged victims being slipped various narcotics without their knowledge, often at a nightclub or one of his famous lavish parties. One woman, Brianna Bongalon, claims in her case that back in 2016, Diddy sexually battered her, then dangled her from a 17-story balcony before slamming her into some outdoor furniture. He's also being sued by Kirk Burroughs, co-founder of Bad Boy Entertainment, Diddy's record label, who claims that he was routinely forced to watch Diddy engaging in various sex acts with interns, employees, and artists trying to get signed to Bad Boy. He also said in 1996, Diddy came storming into his office demanding that he sign over his 25% share of the label under threat of physical violence.
Now, as you said, he was acquitted of those most serious charges, but acquittal or not, this process has decimated his public image. So what does a Diddy comeback look like?
Well, America loves a comeback story, and we've certainly seen celebrities bounce back from heinous accusations and criminal convictions before. Diddy undoubtedly has his supporters. We saw many of them outside the Manhattan courtroom after the verdicts were read, some even squirting bottles of baby oil into the air in celebration. A nod to one of the staple items in his alleged freak-off marathon sex parties. A former Manhattan prosecutor we spoke to said it's, quote, very likely he will bounce back, and that his career could even be resurrected after enough time has passed. We don't yet know how big a dent the civil cases will put in his nearly $500 million fortune, but career-wise, at least some experts are saying it's not impossible that he'll end up coming back from this in some form or another.
You're exactly right about those supporters. I covered this trial in person. I was at the courthouse right when the verdict was read out. I escaped that baby oil by just a few seconds. So I wouldn't be surprised. You're exactly right. Chris Nisi, thank you so much.
Thanks, Caitlin.
And now from our friends at Page Six, Travis Kelce. Super Bowl champ, podcast star, Taylor Swift's +1. He might look like he has it all together, but on this week's episode of the podcast, Bussin' with the Boys, he made a pretty surprising admission. He was asked about his experience hosting SNL and being in that legendary writer's room. Here's what he said.
The writer's rooms were fun because you're just getting pitched ideas. The table reading, for a guy that can't really read that well.
Same, preach.
It was kind of a situation. And I felt like I was just like trying to like get through the reading instead of actually like acting it out and giving it a voice and giving it a character.
Kelce added that the respect of the cast was really important to him, so he took the gig very seriously. And while he certainly seems comfortable to all of us in front of a camera, Travis revealed he actually feels out of place when it comes to his acting chops. He also name-checked our very own Page Six in the podcast, saying that the paparazzi and the threat of ending up on Page Six is the biggest change since he started dating Taylor Swift. Which I say, Travis, just shake it off. And finally today, he just wanted to be friends. If Jennifer Aniston asked to borrow a few bucks, would you say yes? She's worth hundreds of millions of dollars, so why would she be short on cash? It might strike you as odd. Well, it didn't to Paul Davis, a 43-year-old Brit who shelled out a couple hundred to someone posing as Aniston online. Could this poor sap be any more gullible? Fake Jen asked for non-refundable Apple gift cards to pay for expiring Apple subscriptions. Now, Jennifer Aniston has a show on Apple TV. They probably throw in the subscriptions for free. Now, the catfisher, or in this case, Smelly Cat Fisher, sent fake videos of Aniston saying, "I love you," and a photo mock-up of her driver's license, which he said was what convinced him she was the real deal. She was not the real deal. Actually, I kind of feel bad for the guy. That does it for us today. For more on these stories and all things New York Post, check us out in print or online. Now, I would never ask you for non-refundable Apple gift cards, but I will ask you this: like and subscribe to the New York Postcast. I'll be waiting for you wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow.